talking to you. If you haven't already subscribed, click the link in the bottom right hand corner, set notifications to on, and then you'll be informed when I upload new content. Here I want to try to articulate the sense that I am talking to you and how that works in terms of the way I approach these uploads. Clearly there was more than one viewer. I can tell that from the statistics, and the subscriber count recently reached 100, and I have a video about how I feel about that, which is very, very happy, of course. And it got me thinking about numbers and people, and when I'm talking here, I don't have a specific person in mind, but I am talking to one individual, and that would be you. You could argue that's a clever ploy to make you feel special, and you could argue, well, clearly it's not, you're not just talking to me because you don't know me, and in fact there's 100 of us, 100 plus at the moment, and so it could be any one of those people, and you can see by your videos the number of views, how many people are watching. But there is just one of you out there at the minute listening. Well, there could be one or two of you, or maybe you're watching in a group, but generally it's just you listening and watching this content, and I am just me here at this end producing this content. And so it's a one-to-one relationship. That's how I see it. And I guess that could also translate if, for instance, there were 100 people in a lecture theatre and I was on the podium addressing those people. I believe I would be coming from the same place, because although from my perspective it might seem daunting looking at it in general, that, well, there are a lot of people there, and so there's a lot of pressure to connect with them all and to make sense and to give meaningful content. You don't want people yawning and turning the phones on, or worse still, leaving the theatre. So you could argue there is a different sort of pressure there, but I would suggest that I would still be talking to individuals, because no matter how big the audience is, whether it's 10, 1,000, 10,000 or 1,000,000, they're composed and made up of individuals, just like me. No matter how big the audience, each individual is just one person. There is a collective in the sense that they could all decide to stand up and leave or become disinterested. So I'm not denying that there would be an implicit, perhaps, expectation, and therefore maybe a little bit of heightened nervousness ahead of, or perhaps even at the beginning of, addressing such a gathering. But in the past I haven't experienced that either in the limited arenas that I've actually spoken at. Nevertheless, my point is that the listener of this message is always individual. It's always one person. So There's a sender, which is me, and there are lots and lots of receivers, but each receiver is one. So it's one sending to one receiving. And perhaps I haven't really thought about it in those logical, analytical ways in the past, but I do have an intuitive feeling when I'm talking that I'm talking to one individual, and of course that is you. And that cuts through the worry, anxiety and fear of the scalability of, well, I can talk to one person about this, but I don't want to talk to 3, let alone 10 or 1,000 or 10,000. No, thank you. I'm more comfortable talking to one. And my argument is that you are only ever talking to one person, regardless of the numbers that are simultaneously listening. So this format is interesting, this YouTube format. I'm new to it, relatively, and I'm enjoying it immensely. I like the freedom of coming out into this amazing environment and pointing the camera and pressing record and seeing what happens. I often have the sense that I'm listening to myself talking and wondering what I'm going to say next, however bizarre that might seem. Sometimes I come with a more structured format, and sometimes I really don't come with any idea apart from a general feeling. Like, for instance, in this video, the general feeling was, how am I connecting to a bigger and bigger audience, and what's happening internally for me? And I just thought I'd share that with you, your individual self, the one person that you are listening to this. It is an odd format. I'm getting more and more comments now, which is wonderful. I'm realising that there's I've called it an assembly, a group or a community. Maybe in the comments below you can come up with a better word, or which word you prefer. Community seems a bit overused, but maybe it's overused because it's a good description of what's happening, maybe. I don't know why I have an aversion to the word community. Maybe that's something I need to investigate. Assembly, well, it sounds like you're back at school, I guess, so maybe that's even worse. Group, a bit flat and not much life in that word. But if you've got a better word, then let me know in the comments below. Yes, so this was more of a free flow point and click, which are just invigorating for me, and I hope you get something from it. It's back to that being in the moment, in the flow, without the pressure of having to fill the next silence.